Read a little bit of a ditty at the front.
This is left field, but I want to talk about Sunday. We invited all the family round.
Okay.
Welcome to Big Questions, Short Answers. I'm Sian.
And I'm Andy, Sian's husband, asking the big life questions.
And possibly adding a little bit of unsolicited advice.
Maybe. This podcast is brought to you by Sian's value-based online course. Visit sianjacquet.com to find out more. A slight diversion, we're actually going to talk about our family, which is always a bit dangerous. But actually, this is a good part of it, which happened on Sunday. And I know you wanted to talk about it because whenever we get the kids together, we've got 3 kids. They're all thankfully not living with us anymore. They're in their early 30s and we see them. Of course, we see them on a regular bit, but they all came round on Sunday and it was with some other friends of ours as well. And there's always a little bit of expectation of what shit's going to go down or who's not going to play.
Are you saying that that's how it makes you feel when they're all coming round? That there's a part of you that thinks, oh my God,
well,
when is this going to, who's going to kick off? Who's going to be in a mood? Who's not going to contribute? I don't know, I'm asking. Do you actually think that before they arrive?
Well, this is, this family deals with drama. So there's always potentially something, what mood are they going to be in? Because when you have 3 kids, I don't know what happens. Is it just because you have 3 kids, but like all of a sudden one of them's going to be off. And it is a kind of a worry when you have events like that. I mean, it's lovely. I love being in the garden. It was a beautiful sunny day. It was gorgeous, but there's always that.
Did something happen that I wasn't aware of on Sunday? Because I've got completely the opposite view of Sunday. I thought Sunday was one of those moments that I call them my Kodak moments. Yeah. And anybody who's not as old as I probably doesn't know what Kodak is. It was a massive international company that did photographs, and they did the film that you took photographs with in the ye olden days.
And taking a picture is like...
And I take a Kodak moment. Yeah, that on Sunday, I took a couple of Kodak moments of, oh my God, they're all in good moods. They're all here because they want to be.
Yeah.
They're all contributing to really lovely conversations.
Yeah.
They have all at different times contributed.
Yeah.
Yes. In an adult, mature, fabulous way.
Yeah.
And yeah, for me, it was a Sunday of Kodak moments. And I think that it's interesting. I mean, of course you're bloody right. There are times when I was so nervous, who's going to kick off? That one's vulnerable. Well, whatever. Any parent that's listening to this knows exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But what I want to highlight is that just be careful that you don't entrench a belief that once all the family's together, there's always fighting, there's always a horrible time, there's always an atmosphere, it never ends well. That never and always conversation.
Yeah, you're talking about negative beliefs.
Yeah, so what I want to do is just suggest that just make sure you just check yourself, yeah? And that when it is good, you put thought to that as well.
Yeah.
Because all I know is, and I can be blatant as much as anybody else, we tend to be able to see the negative and highlight the negative and put a bonfire under the negative.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
But we don't actually stop and acknowledge the positive, put sunshine and spangles around it, and acknowledge that it's happening.
Yeah.
And I literally, in a little bit of a clunky way, but I did that on the Sunday when we were all sitting out there. There was a moment or two when I just withdrew. I looked at it, took my Kodak picture, and thought to myself, there is hope. There is hope. That we will not be a dysfunctional, crazy family. That actually, wow.
Yeah, because we have been quite loud. There's a lot of assertive people in the family, put it that way.
You may have been loud. I can't remember any time I've been loud.
You must be joking. We have 3 very confident, assertive kids who all like to know their opinions heard, not necessarily agreeing with us. But yes, absolutely. And you're in this, I suppose, you're in this kind of fright or flight mode, is it? And I think, we're harking back to COVID and nobody wants to talk about that again. But, we actually lived with our 3 kids at that time, and that was a very, very, very dense time. But there is that kind of, you have that in yourself where you think something's going to go wrong. And if you think something's going to go wrong, what happens?
Well, that's true. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. But equally, let's not turn this into a bubble conversation. There are people that do have aggressive, the dial, like I like everything on a bell curve.
Yeah.
There are people who do have abusive, seriously hardcore families where it is actually not safe to walk through the door. So preparing yourself for that is equally as important. Right. Yeah. But all I'm suggesting is, in a nice way, just try and find a little bit of headspace, shuffle round the perspective and see it from a different way.
Yeah.
And allow the sunshine to come in. So one of the things I say to people who are digging this hole of negativity, everything's bad, everything, and there's been times in my life and your life when you get there, you just, you can't see any sunshine at all.
Yeah.
There are people all over the world as we speak having a little think to themselves when they clean their teeth. That's what I suggest you do. When you clean your teeth, I at the moment I'm going through a gratitude at cleaning my teeth in the evenings, because it's something I always do.
Yeah.
It's something that takes, it's 2 minutes or whatever it is, and in that time, I focus on acknowledging 3 things that I'm proud, pleased, whatever that I achieved.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be monumental. I didn't solve world peace by 5 o'clock, right? It's not that kind of thing.
I think you're exactly the person to be able to do that, though.
Oh, darling. Bullshit. My point is that I know it sounds so simple, it's not even worth stopping and thinking about, but I can absolutely categorically guarantee if you start a regular time, you just take a couple of minutes of thinking about good things. Mm-hmm. And there's a reason why I do it at night, because I think that it tips my headspace into a positive space about Sean. I feel good about being me. My thoughts as I'm going to bed are in a positive place.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work all the time. It's not some kind of, major mind manipulation. But after a while, you start thinking about it. I mean, I started by saying...
Your 3 things that you thought about?
Yesterday.
Yeah. Well, about the weekend,
But on Sunday night, obviously it was that we'd had a really lovely day with the kids.
Yeah.
And that everybody was in a good space and it was lovely.
Yeah. The lasagna was good.
Yeah. Yeah, I was really happy that when I got up in the morning and made lasagna, there was a dish that would have fed everybody and lovely. But I made double the amount because I wanted everybody to go home with their lunch and stuff for tomorrow. And I loved that.
Yeah.
I loved watching people walking out the front door with their brown paper carrier bags with their goodie bags.
Shiny takeaway.
It made me feel good. It made me feel like a good mother. It made me feel like I was a good human being.
And you made it with your mother's dish.
Yeah, I did. Let's not go down that road because she made me cry.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was... That's the kind of thing. Yeah, it's not necessarily monumentally huge. I've moved the dial on civilization.
Yeah.
It's much more about acknowledging what you are proud of achieving, what you're pleased, and just having the ability to capture those positive thoughts. Because most of us are, we're experts at being negative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, life is pretty bloody challenging, isn't it? I mean, you've got to get up in the morning, you've got to make a living, you've got to put money in, you've got to pay bills, you've got to do this, what's ever happened to the kids. And especially when you've got kids, all of a sudden, and a partner, you're no longer just worrying about yourself, you're worrying about, everybody else. I'm a nervous wreck.
Slightly Botox.
Yeah, probably. We can talk about the benefits of Botox at a later episode. But it's yes, you're right, in terms of having those moments of gratitude.
You can be quite negative.
Oh, yeah.
You camp in negativity.
Well, that's a Jewish background, isn't it, really?
And we've got one son, well, both of them at times, but who also have that personality, that ladle of negativity that you have.
Yeah.
gloom and gloom and
Yeah.
I was going to put a bad word in the middle there, but yeah, you can camp out there.
But most of the time, I have a very positive frame of mind in terms of being really thankful about everything, and obviously, always wanting more. But that's I don't know what that's about. But you're right. Try to be thankful for just that moment, because modern day living's not easy.
Looking at it,
Thinking, why? What have I done now?
I want you to go back to share with me when you are in a negative space. What's it like? How do you know you're in a negative space?
Well, obviously, life becomes a lot harder, doesn't it? I mean, and I still think that it's a case of sometimes you just have to flick. I mean, so long as you don't have any, mental issues, but like you have, you know what I mean?
Words matter, Andy.
Yeah, okay, they do matter. So long as you don't have some condition that is affecting your personality, the idea that if you can move yourself into a more positive space, then life becomes a little bit easier, doesn't it? Tracks become a little bit easier to...
Well, yes, but all we can do for ourselves and for the people around us, whatever those relationships will be, is you can offer a step forward. Yes. Clean your teeth, having positive thoughts, go for a walk, acknowledge the sunshine, smell the flowers, all of that stuff. But in isolation, when you do it once, it's unlikely to massively change the dial. It's about a way of being, Yeah. And you need to practice it. You need to practice that gratitude and that acknowledgement, that you find those moments to look at life in a positive way. It's not going to happen by accident. You've got to practice it and learn to massage that muscle of gratitude and acknowledgement that there is sunshine.
Beautiful.
What, me or the words that are coming out of my mouth? Yeah.
Join us next time on Big Questions, Short Answers with Sian Jacquet and me, Andy.
If you have any questions you want to ask, please send them via the website, sianjacquet.com.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe and share it with everyone you know.
We really do appreciate you sharing 15 minutes with us.
And if you want to do a bit more learning, go on to Sian's website, sianjacquet.com. There's a course on values to create the life you truly love. I did it, and it really does do what it says on the can.
See you next time.